Tougher than I thought, little kitty. Ashland shrugs. Take it easy. Kumiromivoris, are you okay? Shines brightly. You wanted to go beg for it. Trying not to collapse again, right? Yeah. So this is nice enough to carry a book. I am gonna be just nice enough to just take the book and steal it and use it for my own. And it's a blessed book of nerve arrow. Nom 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 nom. So if you think the grey is too white, I need to mix it with a drop of black and one drop of grey and see if you can get a good combo going. Oh, grey! Oh yes, it's a map of snow. Oh yeah. Okay, so we have 1 tree and 2 trees. That tells me absolutely nothing. 1 tree, 2 trees. But I have a map here in the background, and if I am not completely wrong, 1, 2 trees. Yeah, I know where it is. At least I am a somewhat capable navigator. So, yeah. So you see, he has the clean is right over here. See, here is 1 tree, 2 trees, a little tree, some snow stuff, and a rock. Hehe. Boom. Permafrost. I suppose we're just gonna visit Noel when I'm first at it. Hmm. Bum, bum. Me attacked by a bee, a yeek, a slime, and a zombie. Bucket. Oh yeah, I can put bucket on the head. Money, research equipment. Categorize as junk. What the f... Whoa. Darkness touches you. Next, greatly damage the target. Get the fuck. Dang it. Yes, meat and a bone and block of cheese, and you're just gonna eat it. And I have a scroll of return. Oh, you can just return to the place I just fell. What? Wait, is that? I have some shatter hacks. World of Fair. I don't even know where the miasma came from. A jar of liquid begins to burn. Right. What the hell is up with her summons? The undead things that seems to just immolate all the time. Another chest? Okay then. Don't mind if I do. But then let's see, we have fighters again, we have the mage guild and the thief guild. Yeah. That means all of the mage guild skills have been covered. Good. Carmine wound. Grab. Give. Throw. Yeah, just kind of low stake. You just mess around and do stuff type of game. It's not even complete yet, so. Oh my god. Some there. Hang on, let me see. Where is... There's a trainer here, isn't there? Yes, apparently it is. Train me. Okay, symbiosis. There we go. Increase the potential. Should raise everything up a lot more quickly. Also, let's just see what work there is around here. Oh, yeah, you wanted a potion of potion, magic potion of potion. Let's see. Since we appear in the middle of somewhere, see if we can find a gun. Oh, wait. Altar of healing. None good weakness wanker. Blood of fallen angel. That sounds ominous. Snow. Oh. I suppose you can just plow through the books. Hang on. Pony picture. Right, as I do with Lovecraft. Yes. You bind it with the jam. So I just cook all of the stuff to make it last a little bit longer and mix it with some stuff. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's take a look at what we have here. A short sword made of grass. A boxing glove. A light cloak of grass. Long staff, no gauntlets. A mica cloak. Mica shirt. Mica boots. Obsidian shield. Nah. A bone light cloak. Obsidian hand axe. 2d9 plus 2. So a potential to do 20 damage on its own before you add and then you add the 1 time x 1.04 bonus. Okay then. 2d10, so 22 times that's more damage generally, isn't it? And it does more. 1d10, but that also does more. Has more stuff and not the same damage stats, but yeah, 2d10, 20. Also, I need to turn off the oven, I suppose. Oh no, stop walking, you cunt. I just need to make sure I don't burn my food. I'm gonna look at some art stuff. Also, you know, turning on light. It's probably a good idea. It was a supremely unhelpful map. It's next to green stuff and a tree. Oh yeah. No. Blade storm. Swarm. What's a lucky coin? He's playing at a panty, causing confusion. Damn it. That's too much for you, huh? How disappointing. Oh, boom, shakalaka laka, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, a little bit of infidelity has always hurt someone. Yeah, it is certainly how you. No, it wouldn't be too bad if they could make a roguelite like Elin in Doom in first person like this. That would be freaking sweet. Let's see here if we just go into Steam, right? This is gonna sound incredibly silly. See, create one folder for the mod inside WAD mods. As you put them inside folder. Folder. Doom. Do. This is exactly the same game, eh?
Bloodbath. Keep it going. Killing spree. Monster kill. No mercy.
Oh, leaning me over the side.
Rampage.
Yeah, this is totally the same. This is totally how you're supposed to play the casino in the game, eh? It's very much Japan JRPG trash fantasy sound design.
Stay lethal. Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath. Keep it going. Killing spree. Monster.
Also, I don't remember Doom ever having glitch music of this nature. Oh well. So apparently I've earned 1,120 casino chips. So yeah, I removed the luck element from gambling.
No mercy.
And a weird English voiceover for the kills.
Rampage. Stay lethal.
Never mind. That's the zone we all know and love.
Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath. Keep it going.
No, keep in mind I'm playing around with the gamepad here. Without auto-aiming, really. It works, but damn, it's clumsy. And if they take damage, the kill bonus. Reset.
No mercy. Rampage. Stay lethal. Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath. Keep it going. Killing spray. Monster kill.
Damn it. As I can see, my accuracy is shit, and this is definitely the right game. Yeah, so it's just layer on top of.
No mercy. Rampage.
Yes, fucking dang it, I don't. Tells you how little I've played Doom. I don't remember it. This is shit with the lights turning on and off. Damn, that's uncomfortable.
Stay lethal. Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath.
So yeah, what was I really supposed to do is to get a level up and then invest in a new
Keep it going.
body mod.
Killing spray. Monster kill.
Realize that I probably missed Secret or 5.
Stay lethal.
So underwhelming explosions.
Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath. Keep it going. Killing spree. Monster kill. No mercy. Rampage. Stay lethal. Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath. Keep it going. Killing spree. Monster kill. No mercy. Rampage. Stay lethal. Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath. Keep it going. Killing spree.
I'm only doing this because I need a new body pillow. The fire claimed the previous one.
No mercy.
I'm too weak in spindle. My arms are too weak and spindly to get to take them. To carry a bed home.
Rampage. Stay lethal. Unstoppable.
Fuck!
You're on fire.
He managed to get off a shot. That means I lose my
Bloodbath.
bonus.
Killing spree. Monster kill. No
Or rather,
mercy.
it's not that he got off a shot, it's that he
Stay lethal.
managed to hit despite.
Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath. Keep it going. Killing spree. Monster kill. No mercy.
Does it play Doom?
Rampage.
Yes.
Stay lethal. Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath. Keep it going. Killing spree. Monster kill. No mercy. Rampage. Stay lethal.
Yeah.
Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath. Keep it going. Killing spree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Monster kill.
This is bad.
No
It's
mercy.
only Doom that can do this shit.
Rampage.
Alltså det är bara som ett Duke Nukem och you know.
Stay lethal. Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath.
Fuck.
Keep it going. Killing spree.
Pinky, dirty Pinko! Oh, my face is already bloody.
No mercy.
I like my hands bloody. And I don't.
Rampage. Stay lethal. Unstoppable. You're on fire. Bloodbath. Keep it going. Killing spree. Monster kill. No mercy. Rampage.
Doo-doo. Show me the prizes. I should have 40k now. Dagger grave. 97 stones. Yeah, I can't carry that. Throne is 1018 stone. I don't know how that much that is, but it's too much. Sword monsters, lure monsters. Ether antibody, yeast. Then I'm gonna use all of that to just buy a body pillow because I'm a nerd. Hang on. Never mind. Pot of big plant is a new item. That's how stupid, right? You can just go. Like, yay! Even though luck is involved, yeah. It doesn't really do me any good to play the slot. I just really just go and torture some snails. You snail scoundrel pervert! Hopelessly snaily, aren't you? Yeah. It's literally just a cabaret club where they are whipping snails. Does it make sense? Nope. But then again, not a lot of those around here. Yes. I was hoping for to just get one. Right. There's not enough fuel. Of course there isn't enough fuel. Always have to be something you pedantic little... sure about that. Cat body pillow. Hang on, I wonder about something here. Yeah, we could just... Hang on. Whatever. That body pillow is worth so much more than the platinum. Oh, wait. Self poison. Blue flower Friday. Exterminate monster. Those 2 days they kill 23 monsters. It's all about going into the wild, great unknown and shoot. I mean, throw and throw my panties at them. Nope, that was not Jura. Free healing. Offspring Manic lost her mind and kills herself. I have mentioned that a nasty side effect of throwing panties is that the people lose their mind and commit suicide as a death message. Yeah. Oops. Mm-hmm. Endless rain. Ooh, karma, yay. That doesn't count as creatures though. This hot guy, oh yeah, he on the other hand, 100% bona fide man meat. So let's commit murder. Yeah. At least I have a body pillow. You're living a virtuous life. Boom. Then we just run away. But seriously, I need to look up something. Oh, does the Yeah, seriously. EXP Elin. Boom. Adopted a citizen. Okej then. So I need to practice skills essentially in order to okay. You are a model citizen. Yes, model citizen. The most criminal thing you can do is to avoid paying taxes. Yeah. Well, your crime. Didn't pay taxes. 5 years, no parole. Into the ISO cubes. File location in our. Ah, yes, low level music quest. Hello, good sirs. Let me. I am Rossiel the Terror, and I will entertain you this evening with my panty play. Yeah, it's a throwing weapon. It drives people insane, and it kills, and it's a killer instrument. Don't question the logic around here. And it sounds like a cheap violin. And it seems to make people, my music makes people sleepy and confused. What? Kill centipedes, avant globe, and play songs. Yes, go. Right outside the town and go. Pew 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 pew. Panty. And here's my panty. Now they need a murder. Hang on. A goat is not a monster, nor is a kitten, and only a charisma. A sink. Oh well, we already murdered 10 things. Like that, you're not a good boy. And we have a crab battle. Someone is no longer performing in public. Mugger. Smashes fighting on the crab. So if you're saying you gain skill from use okay. Fine. Yeah, so now that my lumberjack increased. So essentially, if you really want to level up, I need to increase potency, so it takes less effort to perform the skill. The secretary. Altar of the Void. Alright, so I think we're gonna need to put in the other things to make equipment more useful. Yes. So, judging from the way it looks like, a 511, we need 590. Completing quest is not allowed. Show compassion and realize. No, I only get 2 carbon for my quest. This means it's totally not worth it. And there's no point in fighting Big Daddy until I start making balls to capture little sisters and take them to the mansion. Oh wait, no, I just need to buy little girl balls to capture those. So we can get Adam. Altar of luck. Don't need luck. Boom. Majestic to you contribution to the medical. But still, so I need to train my skill in order to. Does that mean that, let's say you need so if we do this and I just since we have learned the digging keep up with the potential is just collect everything. That's sad. Then we should just do. Aha, we just go. Stewed grilled fish to the max. Boom. Yes. Why are these little scissors burning? Oh, and you're hungry, you say. Oh, and if you just go. Let's see, one of these was the turtle. Alright, fine. Let me just go boom, 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 boom. Just go skewer grilled eel. Yes. Dog on the bone. Dirty tableware, hearts and curse. A scale shirt and an axe. Right, so then level up on your skin. Well, yeah, balls. Maybe just go, yeah, fine. Mm-hmm. And boom, boom. A rotten tomato. Yeah, you can add some apples. Salt water. Yeah. Book fight. Yeah, we don't need that. Might as well just put that one over here and along with the bed. Oh yes, I can totally become a gene engineer if I want to. Oh yeah. You'd think you'd get some level up in crafting zone. Suppose miles on my skill general is just too lackluster. And meditation and memorization. Okay. That's just not enough. Acquire feet. You grow a new finger. Whoa. I can finally put on a ring. What sorcery is that? That gave me that level skill up gave me 12 XP. Yeah. Fig. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but. And I have the one to look at. And it's. And I say. No. I don't think that's the way to go today. What the fuck?
Think Ozempic is the hottest drug right now? Think again. There's a secret trend nobody's talking about. Teenage boys and Silicon Valley tech bros are skipping doctors and injecting a mysterious liquid straight into their stomach fat. Why? For flawless skin, stronger bones, chiseled jaws. They're trying to hack evolution itself. Some call it magic juice, others Wolverine peptide. Whatever the name, it's fueling a shadow economy most people don't even know exists. It's massive, it's underground, and it is just getting started. I'm Josh, and on today's episode of the Infographic Show, we're revealing why everyone is injecting magic juice. Chapter 1. The Cold War Blueprints. This all traces back to 1973, when the Soviet Union ran into a serious problem. Their soldiers were aging too fast. The condition was amplified in critical roles: submariners, missile operators, fighter pilots. The stress, the isolation, and a not insignificant amount of radiation all played a role. The men were breaking down at the height of the Cold War, and worn-out soldiers were a strategic liability. The USSR Ministry of Defense did what it always did. They brought in a military physician, Vladimir Kavinson, and years later he'd become Putin's personal anti-aging doctor. They gave him access to his secret lab in Leningrad, and they told him, fix it. Kavinson didn't find what they were looking for, he found something stranger. Your body is essentially a massive construction site operating in total darkness. No one can see the blueprints, no one knows what to build or when to stop. So your cells send tiny molecular text messages instead. Connect the amino acids and you get a peptide, a message delivered straight to the cellular workers, telling them exactly what to build, and when to stop. Some of those messages can even tell an aging cell to behave like a young one. That's what Kavinson found, and he spent the next 4 decades figuring out what to do with it. He published 775 scientific papers, filed 196 patents, treated cosmonauts, Chernobyl survivors, and submariners. He died in 2024 at the age of 77, largely unknown in the West. The Cold War had kept an iron curtain between his research and the scientists who might have replicated it. At the same time, the West was developing its own relationship with peptides, although it was much sweatier. In the 1990s, the bodybuilding community had figured out that they could manipulate growth hormone by using peptides to trigger the pituitary gland. Hulking athletes in gyms from Venice Beach to Eastern Europe realized they could message their own endocrine systems into producing more of everything. We call it biohacking, they called it getting jacked. The peer review process consisted of one guy in a gym telling another guy that it worked, and honestly, for their purposes, that was enough. Then, in the early 1990s, a Croatian researcher at the University of Zagreb, Predrag Sikiric, did something that would shake the biohacking world. He isolated a 15 amino acid chain from a protein in human gastric juice and discovered it did something no one expected. He called it Body Protection Compound 157, or BPC 157, and when he tested it on rats, it healed things: tendons, ligaments, gut tissue, muscle fiber. Not slowly, not partially, completely. BPC 157 seemed to work by turbocharging something called angiogenesis, or the growth of new blood vessels. This essentially rebuilt the entire blood supply to damaged tissue at a speed that had no clinical parallel or framework to explain. The biohacking world named it after the only cultural reference that came even close: Wolverine, the Marvel superhero who regenerates tissue, organs, and limbs in real time. And that name is what launched a billion-dollar underground industry. Chapter 2. The trillion-dollar demographics. On an online forum called looksmaxing.com, there's a thread titled, "Would you guys recommend peptides for someone 17?" One of the first replies is from a user with over 2,000 posts and 4,000 reputation points. His answer is telling: "I am 16 on peptides, and yes, I would." That is just the tip of the looks maxing iceberg. It's a corner of the internet, mostly teenage boys obsessed with optimizing their appearance through every possible lever: jawline exercises, posture correction, skin routines, and increasingly peptide injections. And before you assume that this is just a fringe activity in a few bedrooms, New York and New Jersey have passed laws banning the sale of peptides and performance-enhancing compounds to minors. They did it because teens were already buying them freely at scale from vendors who asked zero questions. But it isn't just teenagers. Recently, a patient walked into a Washington, D.C. doctor's office carrying a Trader Joe's fridge bag. When she pulled out a handful of syringes, her doctor assumed they were GLP-1s, Ozempic, Zepbound. They weren't. Her bag was full of something she called a Wolverine stack, a combination of peptides ordered online. They promised to heal her torn rotator cuff faster than physical therapy ever could. She spent, in her doctor's words, oodles of money on a 3-month supply and was injecting herself daily. "My trainer swears by it," she said. "Everyone's using them." A stack, by the way, is exactly what it sounds like, layering multiple peptides on top of each other, each one theoretically targeting a different biological system simultaneously. Think of it like a custom medicinal playlist, except every song is an unregulated injectable, and hitting shuffle could give you sepsis. The patient with the Trader Joe's bag is not an outlier. She is the demographic portrait of where this market has arrived. On July 4th, 2025, podcast host Jaden Clark was at a party in the backyard of the San Francisco Victorian. Soon, an AI founder casually mentioned his Chinese peptide supplier.
I'm gonna shut it down, and then you're gonna
Everyone, it turned out, had a source. Clark posted about it on X. "Something I've learned is that the elites all have a Chinese peptide dealer." The post went viral, and the term became a meme. And the meme was accurate. Gray market peptides have since flooded hacker houses, startup offices, and this is real, peptide raves sponsored by the suppliers. One recent event at Frontier Town in San Francisco featured a mix-your-own peptides workshop. A DJ played techno while chemistry structures projected in the background. The dress code called for crazy, futuristic cyberpunk attire. Attendees were shown how to draw their own blood. The FDA was not on the guest list. At a Manhattan biohacker
there's a reason
meetup,
why,
one tech investor
I know
described the
human
weekly
testing
scene
is,
with the kind of casual horror that only
outlawed,
someone who's
but-
been doing it for 7 years could muster. Each week, someone will bring something new, and everyone will inject it. It looks like a bunch of heroin addicts. He said it as a joke. He's been microdosing peptides since 2018. The substances being injected at these gatherings read like a speculative biology syllabus. There's a copper-based peptide for skin regeneration, recently profiled in Vogue, BPC-157 for injury healing, ipamorelin and CJC-1295 for growth hormone release being used by teenagers whose brains aren't finished developing yet, epitalin for sleep, retatrutide still in phase 3 clinical trials for appetite, focus, and apparently everything else, and oxytocin, which an OpenAI researcher publicly called Ozempic for autism, being microdosed for social optimization. Silicon Valley engineers are injecting a compound just to make more eye contact. None of this is happening under medical supervision. It's happening on Reddit threads and Discord servers. YouTube influencers are holding up vials of clear liquid and saying, "I had tendinitis in my elbow. I started using BPC-157 and it was gone in 2 weeks." That last quote, by the way, is from Joe Rogan, verbatim. One San Francisco peptide supplier broke down the diffusion pattern with accidental poetry. It always starts with the CEOs, then CTOs, then COOs. Biopharma people are shockingly the most reserved. They're a little too deferential to the FDA. His average customer, he noted, is closer to a Starbucks barista. But the techies were first, he said, because of the willingness to take ridiculous risks. The anti-aging clinic industry commands an economy unto itself. Businesses charge $350 to $600 per peptide protocol per session. Gary Brecka, who calls himself the ultimate human, sells peptide injectables through his website and appeared on a podcast to evangelize the category to millions of listeners. Brecka's marketing is a masterclass in sounding scientific while saying nothing. Browse his site's approved and recommended $350 CJC 1295 and ipamorelin stack and click the Who's It For tab. You'll get individuals incorporating peptide support into structured recovery, training, or wellness protocols who want a synergistic dual peptide option that supports hormone signaling pathways and tissue maintenance. That is clear as mud and priced like crystal. If you want to watch people ignore common sense in the most creative ways, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We got plenty more videos where we explain stuff people probably should not be doing. According to U.S. Customs data, imports of hormone and peptide compounds from China roughly doubled to $328 million in the first 3 quarters of 2025.
I would
That's up
trust
from $164 million the year before. But it is probably more.
Experimental drugs
Nobody
from
has a clean
China.
estimate of how much more is moving through misdeclared packages and domestic reshipping operations. The legal global peptide therapeutics market alone is projected to hit $294.6 billion by 2033. The gray market isn't a rounding error, it is its own industry, and it all runs through one country. Chapter 3: The Federal Paradox. This entire situation feels almost designed to produce the exact disaster it created. The FDA didn't ban peptides because people were dying. In late 2023, they quietly moved 19 popular peptides onto something called the Category 2 Bulk Drug Substances List. That effectively prohibited compounding pharmacies from preparing them. The stated rationale was that there was insufficient safety data, immunogenicity concerns, and manufacturing quality issues. All of which is true, and none of this explains why these specific peptides were singled out, especially when thousands of other compounds have equal or weaker evidence. For that explanation, you might have to follow the money. Getting a drug approved can range anywhere from tens of millions to several billion dollars in clinical trials. The only way to make that back is a patent. You get 20 years of exclusive sales while every competitor watches from the sidelines. That is the deal. That's always been the deal. Here's the problem though. These peptides weren't invented in a lab. They already exist inside of you. BPC 157 is a direct fragment of a healing protein that lives in your stomach right now. TB 500 mimics something that your immune system produces every time you get hurt. You cannot patent something your own body makes, so nobody funds the trials. The FDA never gets the evidence it needs to approve them, and these compounds get stuck in a kind of permanent legal purgatory. They're available to anyone with a credit card and a browser, but impossible for any licensed doctor to prescribe or any licensed pharmacy to fill. A law-abiding citizen actually has fewer legitimate options here than someone willing to buy from a stranger online. In 2023, the FDA took this already broken situation and made it worse. They banned compounding pharmacies, the one legitimate middle ground that actually functioned. These were the licensed facilities where physicians could order peptides for specific patients with quality controls, sterility testing, and real medical oversight. The kind of infrastructure you would want between a patient and an experimental injectable compound. Gone. Banned overnight. Did people stop using the peptides? No. Demand just picked up and relocated straight to WhatsApp, factories in Guangdong province, and the veins of the people who now had no other option. Chapter 4. The Chinese Shadow Market. Dr. Paul Abramson, a concierge physician in San Francisco, has watched peptide use explode among his young tech patients. He described the procurement process this way. It's not like funding a scrappy startup, it's wiring money to an unregistered offshore entity based on a pitch deck. Here is the pitch deck. A vial of BPC 157 begins its journey on the Chinese social media platform known as Red Note. The sellers operate with a confidence that makes it seem like they have never once worried about the consequences. One undercover journalist found a seller whose account showed refrigerators full of color-coded peptide vials. The moment contact was made, the conversation moved straight to WhatsApp. 10 vials minimum order, $60 shipping. About $48 total for 10 vials of tirzepatide, the active ingredient in Zepbound, which Eli Lilly sells to American patients for $399 a month. The markup between Chinese factories and U.S. pharmacies is roughly 800%. Someone is making an extraordinary amount of money in that gap, and it's not the person doing the injecting. The legal fiction holding the whole operation together is 3 words: research use only. Under U.S. federal law, selling BPC 157 is technically legal as long as it's marketed for laboratory research. So every vendor website is wallpapered in disclaimers. Not for human use, for research purposes only. Not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. It is a legal pinky swear, a liability shield that transforms 100% of the risk to the buyer. Both parties understand exactly what's happening. When a journalist asked a Chinese factory operator directly whether they knew their Western customers were injecting these products, the operator didn't hesitate. Yes, that was it. That was the whole answer. Customs is where things get creative. Shipments arrive hidden in cosmetics packaging, labeled vaguely enough to pass inspection, or they're bulk shipped to U.S. addresses where individual USPS labels are added before delivery. It's a domestic reshipping operation that keeps the international leg of the journey invisible to inspectors. Customs and Border Protection has been aware of this system for years. Their enforcement record on personal quality peptide imports is essentially non-existent. So no, the risk here is not arrest. The risk is considerably more personal than that. The risk is opening a package from Guangdong and discovering the hard way that what was inside is not what you ordered. Chapter 5. The Vigilante Testers. The gray market quality problem is far worse than most users realize, and most users already know it's bad. Multiple studies have found that between 20 to 60% of gray market peptides contained incorrect amino acid sequences. That means nearly half of what people inject isn't even the intended compound. It's just something else in a vial with a convincing label. On top of that, a significant portion of tested samples exceeded safety thresholds for endotoxin contamination, meaning bacterial byproducts that when injected trigger systemic inflation or, in serious cases, septic shock. Traces of heavy metals, lead, arsenic, and mercury are showing up as leftover byproducts in these compounds that people are injecting directly into their bloodstream. Technically, two things can be true. Your vial might test as chemically 99% pure with a correct molecule and concentration, but it can still be a tiny biological soup kitchen for things that want to kill you. So the biohacking community did what any reasonable group would do when faced with a completely unregulated injectable market. They formed a committee. They crowdfunded money to send batches to independent labs. Janoschik in the Czech Republic and Finric in Texas, which specialize in testing gray market compounds. Results get posted publicly in forums and Discord servers. Vendors who pass get recommended. Vendors who fail get dragged. It is a fully functioning consumer protection apparatus for an entirely illegal market built by amateurs on the internet in their spare time. The problem is that certificates of analysis are trivially easy to Photoshop. Vendors can pass legitimate tests on one batch and then quietly ship off a completely different one. Even a genuine freshly issued certificate tells you nothing about sterility, nothing about endotoxin levels, and nothing about whether the compound was stored correctly. That is critical for peptides, which degrade quickly when exposed to heat or light, especially during a 2-week journey from China in the back of a cargo container. Which brings us to Brooke Bowman. Brooke is 38. She's the CEO of Vibe Camp, an annual gathering of the rationalist community, and she did everything right. Everything the community considers responsible anyway. She logged every injection in the peptide tracker app. She monitored her sleep and her heart rate obsessively. She got regular blood work. She started on BPC 157 and TB 500 for chronic fatigue, and then added retatrutide for theoretical cognitive benefits and to help her quit vaping. She was, by the standards of this particular subculture, a model citizen. One day, she accidentally doubled her dose. Her hair started falling out within a month. Her resting heart rate jumped 10 beats per minute. She says she plans to keep going. She also mentioned that she got clean from heroin in 2020. Peptides scratch a similar itch. I'm not getting that from heroin anymore, she said. So it's fun to have a new thing I'm experimenting with that isn't horrible. Another shipment from China was already on its way. Chapter 6. The Cancer Paradox. There is something else the forums don't talk about much. The reason people use BPC 157 and TB 500 is the exact same reason doctors lose sleep over them. Both compounds work, if they work at all in humans, by promoting something called angiogenesis, the growth of new blood vessels. This is the mechanism behind every headline claim that you've seen. Healed my tendon in 2 weeks. Fixed my gut. Shoulder injury. Gone. Angiogenesis works by rebuilding damaged tissues. It restores blood supply to an area, essentially regrowing the infrastructure that the body needs to repair itself. That sounds great. But angiogenesis is also how tumors grow. Cancer cells are not magic. They need oxygen. They need nutrients. They get both of them through blood vessels, just like everything else in your body. And one of the first things a tumor does when it starts to grow is send out chemical distress signals to recruit new blood vessels. This process is called tumor angiogenesis. It's so fundamental to how cancer spreads that an entire generation of oncology drugs was developed for the sole purpose of blocking it. People are injecting a compound specifically designed to accelerate the growth of new blood vessels throughout their body. If those blood vessels are feeding a healing tendon, great. If those compounds reach a cluster of precancerous cells, they might have poured gasoline on something that was quietly going nowhere. This is not a confirmed finding. Nobody has done the study. And that's because the compounds aren't approved and the trials simply don't exist. But it's a scientifically valid concern, raised repeatedly by researchers with nothing to gain. It's exactly the kind of warning that gets lost in the noise of a forum full of people who feel absolutely fantastic. Dr. Eric Topol, director of the Scripps Research Translational Institute, went on record to call the entire peptide craze unfounded. Of 36 published studies on BPC 157 through 2024, 35 were conducted on animals. The vast majority of all global BPC 157 research comes from a single lab, the same lab in Croatia where it was discovered. A human clinical trial began in 2015. It was quietly canceled in 2016. The results were never published. No explanation was given. Nobody followed up. That is the entire evidence base for something millions of people are injecting into themselves before breakfast. So basically, magic juice users are effectively gambling the house on an experiment where they are both the subject and the control group, and nobody is taking notes. Chapter 7: The RFK Jr. Disruption and the Pharma Trap. On February 27, 2026, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience and announced that 14 of the 19 peptides the FDA banned in 2023 were about to be unbanned, moved from Category 2 back to Category 1. Compounding pharmacies would be able to make them again under physician prescription within weeks. The biohacking community lost its mind. Every forum, every server that had spent years crowdfunding lab tests and swapping Chinese supplier tips were taking the digital equivalent of a victory lap. RFK himself called the original ban illegal and said it had created a gray market it was supposedly trying to prevent. He's not wrong about that. After 2023, the gray market metastasized. The number of people injecting unregulated, unsterile compounds from overseas went up dramatically. Rather than stopping peptide use, the ban just pushed it underground. The FDA had essentially performed surgery to remove a splinter and accidentally hit an artery. So yes, the reversal is a win. In one specific, narrow sense, it genuinely is. But there are still no clinical trials, still no safety data on what a decade of use looks like, still no answer to the cancer question. And while the biohacking community is celebrating the open door, the pharmaceutical industry is quietly buying everything up. The legitimate peptide therapeutics market is projected to double within a decade. Pharmaceutical companies are closing deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars. These are the kind of numbers companies commit to when they're certain something works and they're racing to own it before anyone else does. The natural molecule can't be patented, we've established that. But tweak a few amino acids, file a new formulation claim, and suddenly it's $400 a month for 20 years with a prescription your insurance might not even cover. Suddenly, the gray market loophole closes the moment your approved version clears the FDA. Now there's a legal alternative. The research use only fiction becomes a lot harder to maintain. Anyone who wants the compound goes through the healthcare system. That same healthcare system that these companies already control. It's the oldest move in the pharmaceutical playbook. It has worked every single time it's ever been run. Millions have been testing these compounds on themselves. They've been generating real-world data that clinical trials are supposed to produce. The people who benefit the most from RFK's announcement are not the teenagers in Ohio, the Silicon Valley types, or even Brooke Bowman waiting on her next shipment. They are the big pharma companies standing to make millions. The underground was the trials all along, and the pharmaceutical industry got its results for free. Peptides are part of the story where people are at least trying to heal themselves. If you want to see what the other end of America's unregulated drug hellscape looks like, check out The Only Drug You Can't Survive, or click on this video instead.
Yes, pretty testing. Yes. No worries, I'm a professional. Wait, what?
Yo, what's up guys, my name is Krolk, also known as Bootleg Pirate Software, and I am making a game. Now Devious Fig Tree and Ava Zephon are probably the two most notorious solo game devs on the internet, known for their colorful personalities.
Eat my entire ass.
and
Oh,
inability
God.
to actually make a game. Yandere Dev, a man with many allegations to his name and an insane past, has spent more than 12 years making his game, Yandere Simulator. Jason, on the other hand, is a man known for being an asshole and a liar,
Literally never talk about it.
has been making his game, Heartbound, for coming on just short of a decade. So I'm streaming myself making a Yandere Simulator clone, Heartworm. Now believe it or not, Jason and Alex actually make for a really good guide on exactly what not to do. So, things like don't huff your own farts, listen to feedback, don't put weird sexual shit in games involving minors. Things you would think you wouldn't need to tell anybody, but here we are. So I am not master hacker, master of all hackers, but I am streaming myself actually making my game, good times and insanely frustrating times included, something that Jason is apparently fucking allergic to. My art style is simple because I'm not very good at art. So we have minimal polygons, minimal animations, we use one texture for everything, which leads to my game looking like this. The first thing that you'll notice is that it doesn't look fucking horrendous, and that there is a cohesive art direction. Everything looks like it's from, the same universe. It may be an art direction formed from limitation, but an art direction is an art direction. It's something I can make myself, so along with the game development, I'm also streaming myself making and texturing the models, which is something that is really good to be able to do, so I don't end up having a 10 billion polygon fucking toothbrush. So I mean it when I say that I'm streaming myself making a game. The entire process from start to finish. From design to code to modeling and texturing, the whole process. The only thing I'm not doing is sound design. I don't know anything about sound design or music theory, so it's just not something I'm capable of doing. There's also a website, which isn't strictly a site for the game, but more so a site for my entire YouTube channel. So any other games I make will also be here, including pages for the changelog, downloads, and right now there's also a page dedicated to the characters in Heartworm, which leads me to my next point.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
So my game, being a Yandere Sim clone, takes place in a school. But I like horror, so I thought it would be really fun if I took all the folklore of different monsters and creatures from all over the world and put those as the students and teachers in the game. So every NPC is a monster from folklore and sometimes fiction. And also Jason is there. Currently there are 60 total monsters, with 20 of them currently being implemented into the game, but I'm still looking to add more. A student body of 60 students is not much of a student body at all. So we need a lot more students. So if you have any suggestions, please leave a comment or tell me on my Discord. But let's talk about my game for a little bit. So you play as a zombie girl, who currently actually doesn't have a name. So recently we hit 100 subscribers, and as a way to celebrate, I wanted you guys to actually name her. Leave a comment down below with the name that you would give her. And this Saturday, I'm having a celebration stream, and we'll put all the names you guys suggest onto a nice big wheel, and spin to see what her name actually ends up being. I'm going to be playing Twilight Princess for the first time, so make sure to stop by, say hi, and hang out. We're pretty close to being able to make affiliates, so if you could also leave a follow, that would be fantastic. The game starts with you picking your love interest and talking to your fleshy blob in the basement, who tells you who your rival is for that day. Once you'll get to school, you'll notice a crazy taxi arrow right above your head pointing to where your class is. Now a bit of a side tangent here, but in game development, you need to prioritize what matters most. Game development is a slow thing, so if you get sidetracked by extraneous details and unimportant add-ons, you'll never finish your game. This means adding core mechanics and key gameplay elements first, and getting that to be the way that it should be. And you leave all the other extraneous details for later on when it actually matters. Which is why the school looks like dog shit. From top to bottom, I've kept the fact that I am one person making a game in mind. From art direction to how I make levels to how I make NPCs and how I utilize them in the game, which means doing everything that I can as efficiently as I possibly can do. So understand that everything that you see in the game, this has all been done in 21 days. And I don't even stream for a fraction of the time that Jason does. It is fucking mind-boggling that these two people haven't finished their goddamn game yet. Like, I cannot believe for a fucking second that they are spending even 1 hour working on their game a week, given the rate that they're fucking going. Like, they are making zero fucking progress in years on anything. But anyway, I digress. Currently in my game is in very much a prototype phase, skeleton of a gameplay loop, and none of the systems exist in the way that they will be in the final version. So to be as accurate as possible, I'm going to explain what exists in the game as it currently is, and then tell you what my future plans for how they'll be used properly in an actual finished version of the game would be. There are currently two types of NPCs. There are students and guards. Students are assigned a class every hour, chosen at random by the allotment of desks scattered throughout the level. They're pretty, students are pretty self-explanatory, existing as the potential love interest, witnesses to your assortment of crime, stuff that a student, you can kill them, stuff them in a trash can.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Currently found on some of the classrooms in the second floor. When you kill a student, a dead body will appear, and you can click on it to drag it around. And when you are dragging the student, when you're in the dragging state, you can stuff that bitch in a trash can. When you drag a student or when you stab a student, you'll be marked as bloody. And students do not particularly take kindly to seeing a dead body or you covered in blood. So when they see either of those two things, they will be in an alert state and they will try to immediately flee the school. That's typically how that shit works. Now, when a student reaches the end of the school, if they saw a body, the school anxiety meter will immediately shoot up, and when they have exited the school, the day will come to an end and the anxiety meter will go up more. If they saw you and you're bloody, that will result in a game over. Students are currently unaffected by the school anxiety meter, but this will change in the future, namely that students will begin to be more cautious. They will walk together in pairs and they won't go to secluded areas nearly as much, and so you'll have a harder time actually getting rid of your targets. Guards, on the other hand, are currently affected by the school anxiety meter. The higher the meter, the more guards will spawn. Guards are big floating eyeballs that patrol the school endlessly, choosing a random spot to head to every 30 seconds or so. Their role is strictly to make life harder for you. If they see you and you're out of class, they will yeet you back to where you ought to be. Fast forward time an hour, meaning that class is about to end and students are about to go into the hallway, so if you left a body somewhere, it's about to be found. The students will see the body, the anxiety meter will increase, they'll report it, the anxiety increases even more so, spawn more guards, making your life harder. So it's to encourage thoughtful execution, skill, right? If they see you and you're bloody, that is an immediate game over. Womp womp. The map will increase in size. There's no gymnasium yet. There's no tennis courts. There's no pond, all of which are things I want to add. There will be fishing in the game at some point. Mark my words, there will be fishing. No game is complete without fishing. If there's no fishing in your game, you haven't made a game. All games need fishing. Rivals are also an important part of the game. They're a subset of the students, and the way they exist right now is absolutely not going to be the way that they exist in the future. Currently, every time you spawn in the basement, a rival is selected at random from the currently alive students. You have to kill them by the end of that day or you will get game over. Sorry, pal, you fucked up. The way that exists right now is purely for the prototype stage. I needed to provide some motivation to actually find a student and kill them specifically and target them. Otherwise, there literally is just not a gameplay loop. It's a haha. So that exists for right now and right now only. The UI is really simple. If you hit escape, you can go quit in menu. One quits the game, one brings you to the menu screen. In the top left, you'll see a rotating icon of the current rival, so you know who to look for, and their status as either alive or dead. When you load into the level, you will have the crazy ass taxi arrow, which you could toggle on and off by pressing E. That tells you where your current class is. There is a mini map. I will change out the crazy taxi arrow later. I couldn't get the player marker to actually correspond with reality as to where you were in the level, so I implemented this as a quick fix. On the right side of the screen, you have the school anxiety meter. It goes up. It has a percentage. It's not a whole lot to it. And you have 7 cursors in total, and they're important, so listen to this. You have a default pointing finger cursor. That is so you know where your mouse is, right? When you mouse over an object that is interactable, it'll become either an open hand or a no symbol. The open hand is letting you know that that is an interactable object and you can interact with it. So you can click and interact. And if it's a no, that means you're too far away. And a sword, which indicates that you are in combat mode. And there are bloody variants of the pointing finger, sword, and grabby hand. That way you know when you are bloody. That's communicated to you, the player. For controls, movement is WASD to move around. You right click and drag to actually rotate the camera. Interaction is as simple as mousing over an object and left clicking. And the spacebar is how you toggle combat mode, spawning in the big, silly, funny knife that you can use to stab people with. You attack in combat mode, you just left click and you will stab in whatever direction the knife happens to be pointing. So the camera shoots out a raycast, and whatever object it hits, it'll use those coordinates to direct the knife. So you don't have to figure out where you have to position the mouse, in order to attack an NPC. Just mouse over the NPC and it'll be in the right direction and you can stab away. You have fun, Shift is run, and E is how you toggle the arrow on and off, and escape is the pause menu. As I mentioned before, you can download the game right now from the link in the description on my website. There's a Linux build and there's a Windows build, and there will never be a Mac build. And the website is built, so I'm not a web dev, so the website is being built like it's actually the year 1999 with just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, because it literally does not need to be anything all that fancy. The fanciest thing right now is the character showcase, I guess, which is basically becoming a mini monster wiki accidentally, but that's cool. It's there. You can click on them and get a little blurb. Once I actually add the blurb, right now it's placeholder text, but you'll be able to, don't worry. Is that an eagle? What is that? Oh, that's a crow with like a whole fucking loaf of bread in his mouth. Damn. But it's there, so it looks the way that it does. That's why I don't really know what I'm doing. It just needed to be functional, and my camera just ran out for the second time of memory. So VHS camera it is. Those are basically at the end. There's only a little bit left. So, let me make sure. Get myself positioned correctly. Get yourself a VHS camera. She's dope. Okay. So I'd really like feedback about my game as it currently is. Because we're still in like prototyping and things are really early on, things are easy to change. The best way to do that is on my Discord. There is a channel dedicated to feedback. I will read it, I will respond. We already got some feedback about things, which has led me to my next priority, being the settings menu. If you do play my game and you have thoughts, it doesn't really matter if you think it's harsh or you think that things will change, whatever. Like any and all feedback is good. I can't express that more. Any and all feedback is good. On the Discord, I also post work in progress updates, pictures of things that I'm doing. If you want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Ko-fi. For $1, you'll get a Discord role and access to the rolling releases of the game. These are much smaller, granular updates, kind of what after like every stream, every couple days to a week, I'll upload another one. So it's a bit of a playable history of the game. You can see things progress and how they started off versus where they actually end up being. So that's interesting. You get access to everything that I've uploaded for $1. With all that being said, be kind, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Huh. But yeah, okay. I think I should stop.